What is the difference between first and second-degree murder in Robert Pickton's case? What is the difference between first and second-degree murder in Robert Pickton's case? This question takes us into the heart of Canadian criminal law and the chilling details of one of the most notorious true crime cases in Canada. First-degree murder is defined as a killing that is planned and deliberate. This means the act was premeditated, and the person had time to think about it before committing the crime. It often involves serious circumstances, like killing during the commission of another serious crime. The penalties for first-degree murder are severe, typically resulting in life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for 25 years. On the other hand, second-degree murder refers to an intentional killing that is not premeditated. While it still involves intent to kill, it does not have the planning aspect that first-degree murder does. The punishment for second-degree murder is also life imprisonment, but the eligibility for parole can vary. It usually ranges from 10 to 25 years, depending on the judge's decision. In Robert Pickton's case, he was initially charged with 27 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of women, many of whom were from Vancouver's downtown East Side. However, the jury ultimately convicted him on 6 counts of second-degree murder. This verdict indicates that the jury found he intentionally killed these women but did not find enough evidence to prove that these murders were planned or premeditated to the level required for first-degree murder. This legal distinction in Pickton's trial shows how challenging it can be to prove premeditation in cases of serial killings. Even when there are multiple murders, establishing detailed planning for each one can be difficult. After his conviction, the Crown prosecutors decided to stay the remaining 20 murder charges. They reasoned that since Pickton was already serving the maximum sentence for second-degree murder, pursuing the other charges was unnecessary. As a result, Pickton was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years, which was the longest period allowed for second-degree murder at that time. The choice to convict him of second-degree rather than first-degree murder did not lessen the seriousness of his punishment. Instead, it reflected the legal standards that must be met to prove different degrees of murder. From a criminology viewpoint, this case illustrates how the definitions of murder degrees can affect trial outcomes in complex serial killer cases. It also highlights the difficulties in prosecuting serial offenses, where intent and planning must be clearly established for each charge. Robert Pickton's case remains a significant example of how Canadian law differentiates levels of culpability in homicide and the effects these distinctions have on sentencing.